Hello, you're listening to Reviewing History, your comedy history podcast. I'm filmmaker and teacher Brian Rupert, joined here by,
as always, Steve Medagliaco
and
Anthony Galani.
And we have a special guest. I'm connected to the Tell Steve Dave world, as everyone listening knows, because I say it at the end of every episode. But there's one guest that's been requested since the beginning that people really seem to want, and it's Father Lance. So we're in spooky season. I thought it'd be a great chance to welcome him in and talk about the Pope's Exorcist. Oh, yeah. So let's welcome Father Lance.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Thanks for having me on.
Thank you.
I'm less familiar with the Tell 'em Steve Dave world than probably our audience is. How are you connected with them? And I hear you're an exorcist.
Not an exorcist. I assist an exorcist.
Mm-hmm. That's very fascinating. How does one fall into that?
Yeah, just lucky, I guess. No, well, it all came about, Q bought the Prussian kissing skull.
Mm-hmm.
And that episode that he brought it in, they were musing about it, and was it a cursed object, and and Walt opined, wouldn't it be cool if we could get a Catholic priest on here? And Bri was like, yeah, like any Catholic priest listens. Tell him, Steve Dave. Well, I emailed Walt. And I said, well, in fact, so I'm not a priest, but I'm a deacon, and I did take an exorcism class. So I was on the follow-up episode to talk about the skull, and then I've been on multiple times since for various specials and Halloween episodes, and we just recorded one, in fact, a couple days ago.
Oh.
My first Tell 'em Steve Dave involvement was the Halloween episode when you were there on the green screen, which is the first time we met. So
that was us.
Yes.
Well, I'm excited to talk with you today about this film, The Pope's Exorcist.
Anthony's a guy who goes to mass every Sunday, so
I do.
He's a guy that. Yeah, he's a good boy. So you'll approve of him.
Father Lance and I were just chatting before you came in about the upcoming big synod in the church.
What is that?
They're having a gathering of cardinals from all over the world, and they're going to hammer out some reforms, it seems.
Oh, like they put in changes.
Not even just cardinals. I mean, the unique thing about this is lay people are invited, and not just invited, but they have a vote.
Yeah, that's probably not a good thing.
So regular people, or you have to be in the church?
Oh, you have to be Catholic, of course.
Okay, but any Catholic person has a vote.
But there are regular laymen, men and women, right out of the pew that got selected, by I assume their bishop, and they will be there and have a vote.
So, for example, Joe Biden could have a vote in this.
Well, he's been selected.
So he says.
Yeah.
Now, does this happen normally, or is this like a rare?
No, this is an all new thing.
Oh, okay.
To include, if you know anything about Vatican Council II, of course, it was all bishops. They were assisted by experts who, were mostly theologians and priests, a few lay people, but they didn't have a vote. They just were like consultors for the bishops as they hammered things out there. Now at the synod, the lay people will actually have a voice of their own.
There seems to be a push for some sort of liberalization and maybe democratization of the church. Which
that's what I assumed
is quite radical.
A decentralization, I would say. And Pope Francis has been doing that since the day he stepped out on the balcony, pretty much,
Mm-hmm.
He shook things up in Rome. He's, trying to has reformed the Curia and, put more back into the hands of the national bishops' conferences. It's taken power out of the Curia and handed it back to the nations.
Mm-hmm.
With the feeling the people closest to an area are going to know best how to deal with the problems that are going on there. Right.
And how do you feel about the decentralization? Are you for, or are you kind of like more? No, I want.
He can't talk against his bosses.
No, I'll definitely
off the record.
As an Eastern Catholic, decentralization has more than often been used to screw us. So, anytime you can take the power out of the hands of Italian cardinals, it's a good idea.
Can't blame them.
Yeah, but that's current events. We're going to talk some history today.
Yes.
Specifically about Father Gabriel Amorth. Are you familiar with the man?
Oh yes, read all his works.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Did you happen to see the documentary that William Friedkin made with him?
I did.
What did you think of the documentary? Because I watched it this week in preparation for this.
I mean, given my own experience with this ministry, it's much more truthful than the Pope's exorcist.
Oh, sure. You mean he didn't really ride around with a cape on a scooter?
I don't know, Roop, were you the only one that watched it?
No, we all watched it.
Yeah.
I watched it.
I mean, it's not very exciting. I mean, it's a pretty, exorcisms are actually a pretty boring affair. A lot of prayers and not a lot, maybe a little bit of, talk back from the person. I mean, and of course people got to sell movie tickets. So they're going to.
I mean, that voice she was making was quite unnerving. Just as
the voices, the voices are probably the most common thing, I would say. But the movies make it look like,
yeah,
heads are doing 360s.
Heads are spinning, streets coming out, people are levitating, priests are being thrown around the room. It's just that's
not the case.
Not it. Yeah.
Would you like to share any of your own personal, maybe something you've done as far as exorcism is concerned?
Oh, well, like I said, mostly, and I am an assistant to our archdiocese exorcist.
Which is where?
Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
The Byzantine Archdiocese of Pittsburgh. The Roman diocese has its own exorcist and lay assistants. But our archbishop, several years ago, well, I guess to clarify, so the Roman diocese of Pittsburgh has had an exorcist for a while now, and Pope Benedict had called for more to be appointed, and so our archbishop took that up, and then sort of in preparation for that, he had Adam Bly, who is the lay expert for the Roman diocese, came and give like an all-day seminar at our cathedral hall.
Now, when you say lay, you mean someone who isn't ordained?
Right.
Just a regular person?
Not ordained, just a layman.
Now, would that qualify as someone like Ed Warren?
Ed and Lorraine are sort of
Flim Flam Man.
Well, no, I don't know. I didn't ever get the chance to meet them. They certainly were able to market themselves based on their ministry, which is something that is strictly forbidden. For us, we can't. It's almost like a confessional. You can't really divulge what goes on, who you're working with. Certainly can't sell a story to make
profit
off of it. So in that sense, what they did was a little worrying. But on the other hand, they were helping people that weren't being helped otherwise, because in their day and still and you see it in even in the movie, right? The fictional Father Amorth gets called for the bishops, and the American cardinal is very skeptical and doesn't think this is something the church should be doing, and so and that's still a tension in the church. Even we have this ministry and the Pope saying do it, and you have bishops who are like, can we leave this in the Middle Ages and don't appoint exorcists? So there's that tension.
There's obviously conflicting thought processes regarding this specific type of ministry.
Oh yeah, because I mean, obviously, and we, of course, through medicine and science, we know a lot more, and a lot of what would have been chalked up to demonic activity, we know was
not mental illness,
different forms of mental illness, but there still remain those cases. It's like, okay, they've seen all the medical doctors, they've seen all the psychologists,
in the movie they say it's 2%. I don't know
probably
how accurate that
it's
number
very
is.
like the number of people that I don't want to call them crackpots because they're disturbed people, but a lot of the people come forward, they just don't fit. They're just not.
Have you ever encountered someone who you thought might have been faking it?
Oh yeah.
What about the other end?
Or it's like or almost they want to be because they want the attention.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
To feel special,
right? News reporters and all that stuff.
How many exorcists approximately have you been a part of?
Exorcisms.
Exorcisms 0.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had a confirmed possessed person come to my exorcist. We have dealt with deliverance for people, which is a little bit different because again, full-blown exorcism as defined by the church is a very rare occurrence, even if it's happening more often these days because of a lot less people attending church, being part of the church, so there are a lot more people susceptible to it, I guess you would say. But yeah, much more I would say deliverance type things where they have stuff going on in their home, or they're being for lack of a better word, haunted, either personally or their residences having issues.
I know Father Amorth in his books and such has claimed to participated in like thousands of exorcists, but I think that comes from him having a very loose definition of what he considers to be an exorcism.
Yes. Yeah.
He kind of just goes with, if I'm there doing anything, it counts.
Yeah. yeah. He kind of generalizes, and it's like, well, yeah, it's not following the strictest terms. He's counting. Yeah. Or like if he does, but he does admit though, in an interview when talking about, like full blown, the Exorcist movie type exorcism, I think he claimed around 90 of those.
Wow.
Over, a ministry that lasted many,
which even that sounds
years.
Like a massive amount.
Yeah.
It does sound like a lot, although in Italy, maybe because of the prevalence of witchcraft, it could account for that maybe.
Is Italy a hotbed of witchery?
I would say Europe in general,
Strigonona?
More so than America, although maybe not anymore.
Well, they burned most of them.
I'm not even talking like your classic, black cat, Satan worshiping witch. I'm talking like
Wiccans,
folk stuff,
yeah.
like the old lady, the old widow who puts curses on people and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
I remember seeing Michael Palin. He does his. I think I've brought this up on the show before, but he does his travelogue series, and he did one called New Europe, which was like he was visiting places that had just coming out of communism. And when he was in like Estonia and all those Baltic nations, he was running into people doing ancient pagan stuff in the woods, like maypoles and things like that.
Oh, there's a big upsurge of that in Russia and even Ukraine, neo-paganism.
There's a lot of neo stuff going on in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
But Father Lance, while I got you here, I would like to tell you about a time I believe I was haunted by a demon.
Okay.
And you could tell me if you think this is real or not. So I was about, let's say, like 23, 24. And I have really low self-esteem and confidence. So I decided to take it in completely the other direction to course correct. So I started stating that I was God.
He was
right? I did that to like
himself.
boost myself up. Like I kept saying that. And I would say it like repeatedly. It was almost like my mantra.
Throwing some blasphemy out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then subtly in my house, things started to happen. So the house started to have like a lot of activity, and we would hear noise and like all this stuff. And it was like my mother lived in the house too, so it wasn't just me hearing it. And like my sister, when she would come back from college, would hear it. All this stuff started happening. So I started to hear like a voice like go like Brian, like that, like, and I'm like a relatively sane person, like I can understand stuff. So I'll tell you, this is one of the big stories. So I'm walking up the stairs in my house, and I'm coming up the stairs, and to my left is like a family room. To the right is the hallway, which leads to the bedrooms. So I'm walking up the stairs. The picture next to me on the wall tilts like sideways. The TV goes on in the like the TV room, and it's on static. And I'm like I get a chill up my spine. I hear a voice go, Brian, like that.
From the TV?
Just like kind of behind
ear?
me. Like, yeah, like it was really close. I'm like, Mom? Like I thought maybe she was calling me. She didn't call me.
Was she in the house?
She was in her bedroom sleeping. So I like.
Now, what can I ask what your religious background is?
So I'm personally agnostic, which I know I'm talking about a demon haunting me, so maybe I should have some sort of other understanding. But I was raised Jewish.
Okay.
So I'm like, I stopped dead in my tracks. I'm like, this is weird. And I go to my mother. I like open her door. I'm like, were you calling me? And she's like, no. And I'm like, okay, this is weird. So that day ends, you know, a day or two later, I'm going to bed, and like I would stay up all night typically at this time because I was a waiter. You get home from work late at night, like 12. So I then, you know, I do my stuff. I would go to bed around 6, wake up at 4, go to work, etc. So I'm going to bed around 6. My mother's leaving for work, and she leaves, and I have the TV on Saved by the Bell. And I'm like, all right, it's time to turn it off. I turn it off. The garage door downstairs, like to get in to the house from the garage, starts slamming.
Big heavy door.
Big heavy metal door starts slamming, like boom.
This door cannot be moved by wind.
It's clearly
heavy.
You would have to open it and slam it several times. I turn the TV back on, it stops. I'm like, okay, this is weird. I wait a couple minutes. I turn it off, and it happens again. I'm like, okay. I turn the TV back on. I'm like, looks like I'm sleeping with the TV on.
It'd be great if it was just Ant trying to get into your house.
Let me
knocking on
in.
the door.
So I go to bed, and then that day ends. Like the next day, I'm on my laptop, or I actually didn't even have a laptop at the time. I'm on my computer, and on behind me, I have like a shelf full of like toiletries, like cologne and all that. It goes flying into my door, like, and it could not just go that way. Yeah, like
all the items on the shelf, or what?
The shelf itself gets flung into the door,
like a piece of furniture.
Yeah,
wow.
It's like a white thing with like toiletries on it. So that gets flung onto the door, and I'm like, holy shit! So I pick all that stuff, I put it back, and I'm still doing my thing. You know, I'm proclaiming I'm God all the time. So then, like a couple of nights later, I wake up in the middle of the night, and I'm being pinned down. And like I grappled a lot in my early life, so I'm a tough person to pin down. Like I can move.
You're a wrestler, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like something pulling me down, and it's choking me. And I'm trying to scream for help, and I can't really speak. And I get out like I'm trying to call for help from my mom, and I go, ah, and I can't breathe, and
Could this have been a dream?
No, I was awake for this.
Mm-hmm.
This I was awake for.
There is sleep paralysis where it feels like that, you know, but sure.
This happened. So I'm like, this is getting enough. So eventually, like, I was like, all right, this has to end. So I had to I begged God for forgiveness. I was like, I'm sorry. I'm not God. I'm clearly like weak. I can't deal with this. Please like make whatever is happening stop. It's like probably like the last time I've really prayed for something.
Mm-hmm.
And 90% of the activity in my house stopped. Like it stopped fucking with me directly. Like in my house to this day, like my mother's house, you still will hear like noises and stuff, but nothing direct like this.
Yeah.
So I just, what's your thoughts on that?
certainly, I mean, that's a lot of heavy activity. So it certainly sounds like it. And given that you were blaspheming,
he's like, you probably had it coming.
Yeah, you deserved it.
It makes it, well, the thing to understand about the demonic activity is, and that's why, when you tell people like, yeah, it's not a good idea to mess with the Ouija board and do this or do that, it's not so much that there's any inherent power in a Ouija board.
It's like an invitation.
Just a piece of card, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, think of, like a shortwave radio. Now you're broadcasting.
Mm-hmm. Manifesting.
So
Kinda.
you, by blaspheming, you're broadcasting, hey, I might be be able to be further moved, because what happens, so like in a case like what you're describing, we would call that demonic oppression, right?
Asking for it.
Or obsession, right? No. You blasphemed or whatever, so you sent the signal out and somebody answered, right?
You walk down the street in a mini skirt and go-go boots for demons.
And now the demon's messing with you, right? What's the point of the demon messing with you? It's to break you down, and you actually, you did the right thing. You confessed, because what most Catholic exorcists will tell you, those sorts of problems like what you had, 99% of them can be resolved with going to confession and receiving communion and stopping whatever. Whether it was blaspheming or witchcraft or whatever it is you're dabbling into to attract the demonic. Confession is the most, and you did that, right? You confessed to God.
Yeah, I did.
And the relief came.
Yeah, it did. It stopped. So
there you go. And that's
all the proof you need, Brian.
Yeah.
And if you read Father Amorth's books, he says the same thing. Confession is probably the most powerful weapon against the demonic, because if you acknowledge your wrongdoing and ask for forgiveness, it's given. God doesn't hold things against us. You ask for forgiveness, it's given. So that's the last thing they want people to do, right? So they,
hold on to that sin.
Hold on to it, get depressed about it, withdraw. Isolation is probably the most is what the demon wants. Wants you to isolate from family, from friends, from church, and then you're at their mercy because now you're alone, right?
Makes sense.
So a lot of the deliverance cases we see they're like at the first step of that. One lady we dealt with, it was starting to affect the marriage, right? So, luckily there was intervention and she was able to pull herself out of that. But, break up of marriages, anything to.
It's about driving a wedge between familial bonds, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're communists.
They're the state. They're the American government.
This is awesome, Father Lance. Thank you for being here. I'm loving this. All right, so let's dive into the Pope's Exorcist, the movie.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's go ahead.
All right.
I watched this just real quick. I watched this like a month ago.
Yeah.
Because we were supposed to record this a little earlier.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of rusty.
It's okay. So basically, it opens with a quote from Father Amorth where it's like, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled is getting people not to believe in him.
Right. A quote from The Usual Suspects.
Yeah. And then it's,
Is that him? That's a famous line.
yeah, I think he probably just said it too. And then it says to jeer at the devil,
I like shout at the devil.
Well, Father Amorth always would begin every exorcist in real life by sticking his nose up at the devil.
He felt humor was a good weapon against
Yes.
evil.
Devil doesn't have a sense of humor.
Right.
So in real life, he
It's
did
like-
that, and then in the movie, they kind of showed that about his character as well, where he's like, yeah, he makes fun of it and kind of plays around with it. Right. So I guess that's what he's really doing, huh?
Yeah. And now they go and there's like a pig and it's clear what he's gonna do with this pig. And like I'm watching, I'm like, if the devil goes into that pig, he's really stupid. And then it turns out that it's like, oh, this is just a mentally ill person.
It was like a placebo almost.
Yeah,
murdering
basically.
a pig.
Yeah.
Which they do in a lot of these movies. They show them do like in The Conjuring, they show a fake case that's not like a real haunting later, which kind of gives the characters more credibility later. You know, and
but that, you know, in that it goes all the way back to the original Exorcist movie and the ending, right? And an exorcist is never ever going to ask for the demon to come into him. Right, or to come into, because that the demon is a spiritual entity. It's not inside the person.
Yeah.
Right. It's acting on the person, but it's not literally inside them. And the movies, again, I understand they have to make a movie and sell tickets, so you gotta make things look dramatic and good, and so, but. Yeah, so I see the same thing in exorcism over and over again. Come into me. No exorcist is ever going to do that.
Would you?
And it's right. It happens in this movie, right?
Yeah.
At the end with
yes.
I'm skipping way ahead, but yeah.
Would you take it into you if it would save the life of someone else, though?
That's a hard question.
It's not in them. It's
not in them in the first place, and you succumbing to it can't help that person.
Okay,
so that's kind of like the lie that's being set up by these directors. It's like, yeah, that's not how possession.
Take the demon in and then kill yourself. That's that always.
We're not trading.
Yeah. Okay. So they kill the pig, and now it's July 1st, 1987 in Spain.
Yeah.
And Russell Crowe is.
I think they stopped playing The Cult. She Sells Sanctuary, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
Kids listening to like headphones.
Yes. Yeah. So Russell Crowe is with nuns, and they start talking about.
He's talking with a cardinal, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like he's questioning his place.
Well, yeah, there's the young American guy who's trying to like liberalize and reform, and Father Amorth just pretty much puts him in his place. They make a clown out of this guy throughout the whole movie, which I enjoyed.
Well, I think he's also questioning if he did enough. Like at one point, he's staring at like a painting on a wall, and he's talking to the other dude.
Yeah,
and he's questioning like if he did enough to get into heaven, almost. I think,
which
is weird because I feel like when you're in that position, you're probably already pretty close.
You'd think,
Well, of course, he's suffering from that guilt from that mentally ill girl.
Yeah.
Yes.
Didn't help. Couldn't help.
Like, did I do enough?
Yeah. And I think that was the, as far as the movie goes, like his response to the cardinal is like, yeah, I'm not going to lose another one for failure to act. So yes, it wasn't an exorcism, but the placebo effect of it helped this guy.
Now, you as someone who's read all his books, has anything even close to that been alluded to, that he had some kind of past experience he was guilty about?
No.
I actually think there is.
Now, I will caveat that he's written many books. Most of them are in Italian. There's only been like 2, 3, 4 that have been translated to English.
Oh, so you've read the English ones?
Yes.
I see.
So the one thing that I think they're doing with the lady who killed herself is they're referencing something called the disappearance of Emanuela Orlandi.
Oh, yeah. The big scandal, Vatican scandal back in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I think this is. So in 1983, a Vatican schoolgirl went missing. And it's supposed that she was kidnapped by a gang.
She was a child of a Swiss guard. Am I remembering the story correctly?
Okay.
She was one of the children of the Swiss guards, and yeah.
Do you want to tell the audience who the Swiss guards are for anyone who doesn't know?
If you're ever watching Midnight Mass from the Vatican or the Easter Mass, and you see the guys in the crazy
Pikemen.
Blue and the pikemen. Yeah, those are the Swiss guards, and they are Swiss because the Swiss were famous mercenaries in the Middle Ages, and of course the Pope didn't just have Vatican City; he had basically Middle Italy. So
Tuscany. It's given by Charlemagne.
Ah.
And so the Swiss were from the Catholic cantons were hired on to protect the Pope, and did so on many occasions. Many of them lost their lives when Napoleon invaded Italy, defending the Pope. So, yeah. So, and obviously, they're, soldiers. Like, I mean, even though they got the weird outfits, they are trained soldiers and very good, I'm told, with modern weapons. Of course, I think after so many years of like 2 years of service, you're allowed to get married. And of course, your family is going to live in Vatican City. Yeah, this girl was a daughter of one of the Swiss guards, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
She was kidnapped by a gang that was made up of Vatican police and foreign diplomats, according to Father Amorth.
Whoa.
She was murdered and her body was disposed of. Amorth claimed that they were kidnapping a lot of Vatican schoolgirls and like using them.
A cabal of evil like guys in the organization.
This is what Amorth said, and her body has never been uncovered.
Holy
never been
smokes.
Found. And
that's dark.
So I think I'm not sure 100%, but I believe that is what they're alluding to with Amorth.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but that's kind of what my interpretation of it was based on my research.
That's an interesting take, Brain.
Well, that's something that he would probably feel a little guilty of, you know?
Sure,
it seems to me like he had no problem calling out corruption and, things that he saw as degenerate, like often. Like he hated like Harry Potter and stuff.
Yes.
Of all the weird, we talk about, dabbling in things and, broadcasting openness, right?
Yeah.
And the ones I was like, really? So he didn't have a problem with tarot cards.
Oh no.
To him, that was like tarot cards. So if you get a tarot reading, who cares? That's nonsense.
But he hates yoga.
Right. Now yoga, you could make the case for it is part of the Hindu religion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think in America it's been so detached from that.
I think at this point, yeah,
it's
probably
a workout now.
when he was
But
saying
some
it in the
people
80s.
Get really freaked out. They're like, anything Eastern or Asian, I guess, and they associate it with Hindu or
you start with
some other Eastern religion
Kali
that
Ma.
isn't Christian. Right.
You start with downward facing dog, and the next thing you know, you're praising what's the many armed god?
Shiva.
Yeah.
Moloch.
Yeah.
Going to meetings for Moloch.
Yeah.
So they kind of go that, and in America it's just an exercise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just stretching now. I don't think anyone is associating it with like religion at this point.
Right.
It's like I have a bad back.
Right. They're not doing chants. They're not praying to Hindu gods about it. They're just doing the exercises.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Harry Potter, which I've read all of them, so I enjoyed. To him, that was like, oh, what a gateway for kids. And I was just like, I don't think American kids see it that way. American kids aren't going out and buying, the satanic Bible because it's not Harry Potter.
Can I make a bit of a counter argument to that?
Okay.
I think there's a large contingent of young kids in America who probably don't know the Christmas story. But but in every kid's bookstore today, you're going to find books on how to be a witch. So, maybe he had a little something. Now, I'm not saying that Harry Potter is evil, but
I would say that was there before Harry Potter. Certain bookstores I frequent, there was an occult section long before Harry Potter came about.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and evangelical Christians have always been down on
fantasy.
Yeah.
Like they were against Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right. And
the harmlessness.
all the nonsense that went on with that in the 80s.
And if I'm correct, didn't the Pope recently say like you can finally listen to Pink Floyd, or it was the opposite?
Pope Benedict, when he first came into office, one of the first things he did was say like Pink Floyd and the Rolling Stones were evil.
Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know about that, but
maybe not.
I mean,
whiny,
I don't know
maybe not
role
evil.
models, but
yeah.
They're whiny rock stars. I wouldn't say evil.
So let's get back to the movie.
Sure.
So the priest,
a
priest comes and like kind of blesses their new home. He's like, if you guys need me, I'll be around.
it's a castle.
Yeah, it's like
right.
I don't think it's a home. I think they were renovating it to
monastery, right?
It's a monastery.
Right.
It's a monastery, and underneath there are catacombs.
Which in Pittsburgh, I've noticed there's a lot of like abandoned churches that became like concert venues, and there's like a restaurant. Yeah. I've been
Church Brew Works is there.
We've been there.
Very good.
We went there.
Yeah, good food.
Altar Bar was the venue, but I think it's closed.
Okay. This was like the last time I went to a show there, I think it was like 2017 or 18.
I do like how some of the places leave like the stained glass and they kind of have the remnants there, but it's a little off-putting to kind of like eat in a church, like a full meal.
It makes me depressed. Look at me.
Well, obviously the numbers aren't there to support keeping these buildings open, unfortunately. And what do you do with it, right?
It's a beautiful building. I might as well do something with it.
Yeah.
Right.
At least it's
so they deconsecrate it. They remove most everything. Stained glass is probably the only thing they really can't.
Mm-hmm.
You can't remove it without major expense, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they strip the inside. The bishop decommissions it, and now it's just a building.
Is there a deconsecration ceremony?
I think usually they'll have one last mass there, and if there's some special prayer that the bishop says, or they just pull everything out, and the bishop says, "Okay, this, here, pull the altar stone, and now the church is no longer a church."
Wow, that's interesting.
I have a weird question for you.
Yeah,
I know that here in New York, there's this big thing that we're doing where the tabernacle where they hold the Eucharist.
Oh yeah.
In every church in the city and possibly the state, they're being moved to the center of the where the mass takes place. Where they used to be off to the side. Is that happening by you as well?
Yeah.
What is the thinking behind that?
How old are you guys?
33.
Right?
30.
Oh, you're younger. So I'm 51.
Mm-hmm.
So so I grew up in the direct aftermath of Vatican II, right? So I'm old enough to remember the tabernacle was still in the center, and then moving it to the side.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. So it was in the center, and then they put it to the side, and the thought was, the altar of reservation should be separate from the altar of sacrifice, and your attention should be on the mass being celebrated, not on Jesus in the tabernacle.
They looked at Christ as a distraction.
Right? I mean, it was kind of a silly thing, because now in your bigger cathedrals, the reservation chapel was like, it was a chapel, right? It was a full-size room in the cathedral where you had, if you wanted to do Eucharistic devotion, that was a better place for it, right? Mm-hmm. To transplant that into little parishes didn't make a ton of sense, but that's the route they went. And now they've kind of seen the foolishness of that, and they're reversing and putting the tabernacle back in the middle, albeit behind the altar for the mass.
It only took 40 years.
So he went to someplace recently in Montreal.
Yeah.
And did they have that set up like in the center, like you said?
I'm not sure. I was recently, just the other day, up in Montreal. I went to the Notre Dame up there and the St. Joseph's Oratory. But I didn't really take
those guys are very what do you want to say, fastidious about liturgical
things.
The Oratorians. So I would not be shocked at all if they redid. Well, and, all the ugly churches they built in the 60s and 70s, they're sort of being redone, made to look like a church again. They went through this odd minimalist.
Yeah, a lot of the art up there is Art Deco, and it just doesn't look right. It's very off-putting.
Very, very ultra. Like I'm not, and I don't hate modern art, but I mean, in a church, just some of it's too. It just doesn't look like anything, right?
Yeah, too simplistic.
And, when you're in church, you want to look at.
We're Catholics.
Christ.
We're supposed to be gaudy and ridiculous. We like that shit.
Yeah.
Brighter colors in my outfit. I need more brighter colors.
It's Italian. It's Italians, Frenchmen, and Irish people. Come on.
Bigger the hat, the better.
And Spaniards.
All right, so in the house, the new girl starts the teenage daughter starts smoking. It's revealed that that she has a dead husband, and now a demon is knocking, trying to get to her brother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's like there's something in the basement. You don't know what it is, and then you cut back to
Russell Crowe riding on a scooter.
Yeah, but he also was offered a cafe latte.
Like Batman.
Yeah.
He's like, cafe latte at this time of day? No, never. I was like, what? It's the afternoon. You can have a cup of coffee, dude. Like,
it's cafe latte, Jerry.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
So now it's like the mother hears all these noises and stuff. Workers get burnt alive.
Oh, yeah. They hit a gas line.
Yeah.
And then a fireball comes and devours them.
Yep.
And the kid's like having a seizure at this point. And it's like, oh, no.
Has he already been bewitched by this point?
This is when it happens.
This is when it happens.
Because I guess like the explosion kind of like released something.
Yes, it released the evil beneath.
Yes.
Yeah. At least that's what it represented, I assumed.
And now the hospital says the boy has psychosis.
Yeah.
And the sister is all messed up. And the boy has like Hatebreed style scars on him.
Yeah.
I think it literally says like Hatebreed on him or hate.
It carved hate in his stomach, and it tried grabbing the mom's
It's a big
tit.
Jamie Josta fan.
Yeah.
Tried grabbing the mother's tit, like baby's hungry. Rah.
Oh yeah.
Very weird.
Yeah,
Very weird.
The demon says, "Get me the priest." So she gets the priest that was there earlier,
and he gets exploded.
He gets thrown across the room,
and they're like the wrong priest.
The kid was just a fan of the band Slayer. That's all. That's all.
So now Russell Crowe meets the Pope, and this is 1987. So is this John Paul in
Franco Nero Pope?
Yes, Franco Nero is the Pope, which I loved. I love
he?
spaghetti westerns. He's Django in like the original Django movies.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an awesome spaghetti western actor. But who is Pope in 1987?
John Paul.
So he's supposed to. So he's supposed to be Pope John Paul.
He looks nothing like him. Yeah.
And isn't Pope John Paul II Polish?
Yes.
Yes.
So they cast an Italian.
This dude was Italian as hell.
Yeah.
He could have played the Pope or a mobster. Either one would have worked.
So,
well, Gabriel gets sent to.
He's like, this abbey has long been a problem. You got to go take care of this.
There's some evil there.
Yep.
And it seems like the papacy is already aware of what's underneath the church. Like that's the implication, right?
Well, like movie guys love the idea of a church being built over a portal to hell.
Yeah,
yeah.
That seems to be a recurring theme in a lot of supernatural movies like this, and it's just like, that's again, hell. There's not any place on earth you're gonna like move a rock and there's hell.
How do you know? Maybe we just haven't dug deep enough.
Just magma.
Because hell's a state of the soul, not a physical place.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
So these portal type things are always.
There's no cave like Dante's Inferno where I'm just just gonna walk in
until you fall into Centralia and suddenly there's a lake of fire.
Yeah. Centrally mine fire.
Yeah.
So where are we?
The river
now?
Styx in the Cat Hills.
So Russell Crowe arrives and the young priest is like all impressed, and Russell Crowe goes to the boy. And he's like, "You're afraid of Jesus," and like, he's doing typical movie Exorcist stuff, holding the cross and all that.
Yeah. Well, he holds this symbol like a pendant in front of the kid's face,
Yeah.
It's a medal of Saint Benedict.
There you go. So as he moves it, you can see like the demon eye follow, and it's like, oh, this is an actual demon. Like if that doesn't happen, it's not a demon.
Now, who is Saint Benedict?
Yeah.
Oh, so Saint Benedict is basically the founder of monasticism in the western side of the church.
Okay.
Monte Cassino.
Monte Cassino, yeah. Abbot, first abbot in the western half of the church, basically founds monasticism right in Italy. It existed in the east, of course, in the Egyptian deserts, and
was that Augustine?
St. Paul the Hermit, St. Anthony the Great, kind of founded Egyptian-style monasticism, and of course St. Basil the Great is the founder of Cenobitic monasticism in the Byzantine Church. Benedict's the father of monasticism in the West, and that's St. Vincent Art Abbey. If you are familiar, the Steelers training camp is. That's the Benedictine monastery.
Wait, the training camp is at a monastery, the Steelers?
The training camp is held at a monastery, yes.
That's why they've won so many Super Bowls. I got to get the Jets over and play on some holy ground.
God.
And maybe I could see one before I die.
Poor Saint Benedict, we blew up his monastery in World War II.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Monte Cassino was heavily damaged.
Monte Cassino is the first, like he said, the first Western monastery in Italy. And there were reports that the Germans had set up artillery positions in the monastery. So rather than assault it, they just bombed it from the air, and it's messed up.
We're a Protestant nation.
I actually think a lot of that is what contributed to in Vietnam when they refused to damage like historical buildings and stuff. Like the old city in Saigon and things like that.
Now, there
weren't guns at Monte Cassino, were there?
Right. Well, that's that. Some people will tell you there were, like the militarists, and then everyone else in the world that isn't a flag waving guy is like, no, the Germans weren't there.
Now, is there a particular reason why it would be a Saint Benedict medallion? Like, is he like known for being like a demon fighter or something?
He was.
Okay.
So he was an exorcist himself, and the medal that
Russell Crowe has,
that he has there. There are letters all over it.
Okay.
And there are actually exorcism prayers on the medal itself.
Okay.
Exorcists found it very useful.
You got one?
Oh yeah. If you ever listen to my first time on TSD, I gave I put one in with the Prussian skull along with exercise salt just in case, and I gave all the guys the St. Benedict medal. I think Walt still wears his. Get him. You got yours on?
Get him is not in the room, so I'll ask him after.
Get him went to St. Vincent. Get him went to St. Vincent's Archabbey's college.
Okay, so he should know.
Semester or two.
There you go.
All right.
That's something.
So
you should buy that.
Yeah.
You seem to retract this.
So now I love this where the demon's like, "What are you afraid of, priest?" And he's like, "France winning the World Cup." Which I know you're a sports fan too, Fatherland. So I know you can relate. You're like,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, the Flyers winning the Stanley Cup, or the Eagles winning the Super Bowl.
And this is where he kind of meets the villain, really. Because he realizes, okay, he sees the eye. He's like, oh my God, this is the real thing this time. And he knows his name. He knows his sins. And he coughs up a red bird. And he's freaked out. He tells the mother, he's like, if I leave, this child's going to die. The demon's going to take the child's life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't read too much about actual exorcisms. But we did do the movie The Exorcism of Emily Rose, where it did kill her. And of course, there's speculation between the two. And I'm curious, do you know any stories that kind of led to that might have not have been heard as much about? Because there's the popular one like that, but I'm sure it has happened before where maybe the exorcism went too far and, you lost.
There was it wasn't a Catholic, it was an Orthodox exorcism in Romania. And I think there's a documentary about this, so again, we were talking about superstition and, so like the monastery and priests involved weren't this very superstitious still,
Mm-hmm.
And so they ended up crucifying, I think it was a nun.
Wow.
Who was, and of course, she passed away, unfortunately. And there was a lot of hullabaloo about that. That was
this communists?
This was right after the fall of communism. So this, I think, would have been in the 90s, early 2000s.
Wow.
So yeah, like they were doing stuff that, in the Catholic Church, if you're going to do an exorcism, you got to have a priest consulted, a psychologist consulted.
Oh, they crucified a nun
during this exorcism.
Oh my God!
Exorcise her. They crucified her, and it ended up, killing her. So yeah, it was really. But that was
not quite stigmata.
Doing it, not the demon.
No, that was just murder.
Father Lance, I'm always amazed by this. Have you heard? I've heard that in the Philippines around Easter, people like crucify themselves
out of devotion. Yeah.
Yeah.
The church has told them to stop doing it, but
they still do it. Yeah, I know.
They still do it.
That's crazy, right? Like.
I will say, I mean, it is.
There is a history of things like that.
They do it. If it can be done, you can call it doing it safely. I mean, they do it so there's not going to be permanent damage.
They use like rope.
Well, no, they put nails through their hands.
Oh,
but they don't. I think under their feet, they're supported so that the crucifixion effect doesn't happen.
Okay.
And they're only up there for a short time. I don't think they're up there 3 hours or anything. I think they're up there for a few minutes and take them down. Yeah, that's a little extreme for my taste.
It reminds me of almost like when you hear stories about during the Black Plague, the flagellants. Do you remember these guys?
Oh yeah.
They would whip themselves with scourges as just like penance.
Yeah, I remember that guy in the Dan Brown books.
Oh yeah.
So, that's a real thing. That thought, the thing that's the
Opus Dei.
Oh, people do that.
Yeah.
And, I think that's a little nutty.
Your back, I kind of would understand more. Your thigh, though, you hit the wrong artery, you're out. You're out. You're not making it. So
they practiced.
So there's a line where he says, demons have hierarchy. Is that true? Is there like a hierarchy among demons?
That's
are they that efficient? Like there's a chain of command,
like the military.
Yeah,
middle-aged grimoires and that sort of thing. And actually, from the Jewish Kabbalah, I think kind of presents that as well. So there is a little bit of history of, there is, some sort of order and ranking and authority among the demons themselves. Which, if you accept, the classical hierarchy of the angels, right? 9 choirs, and each one has a duty, and some are over others, But I think
I am the seraphim.
It's like the opposite, right? If there's ranks of angels, there's got to be ranks of demons. It's like paired.
Can I?
Because whatever demon was an angel, right? So that demon was from one of those hierarchy, from one of those orders. So,
how does the playbook of how to combat, this type of thing, demons and such, how does that come into being? How do you come up with a strategy? Obviously this is something that's been going on a very long time, but where do you think like the tactics of like knowing what to do?
Yeah. Of course, there's the ritual for the exorcism, the Roman ritual, right? And it has.
Do you think that has roots?
You want to say a foreword and explanatory notes, and
does that have roots in like maybe pre-Christian tradition, like with the Roman gods and things like that?
I'm not familiar with that. I don't know if the pagans. Seems to me like with the Oracle of Delphi, they sought to be,
influenced
or
huffing volcanic miasma
spirits, right? to give, so that's how they gave their prophecies, right? They were in an altered state. What caused it? I couldn't say, but
yeah, certainly. I mean, with demons and things like the Sumerians, almost like worship them.
Right. Yeah. Well, the idea. Well, this goes back, to the Exorcist, right? The demon that's there.
Right. What was his name? Pazuzu. is Sumerian.
Right? He's Sumerian, and he was like, and if you're familiar with demonic, like Lilith, right? The
Queen of Hell, right?
The Sumerian Lilith, right? Who's the like steals children out of their cribs at night. Like she's your classic night witch type thing. Pazuzu was supposed to be the protector against her. That's why you had this frightening image of this, this guy with, well, what Pazuzu looked like in The Exorcist. So.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
So he was like the counteract to keep Lilith away from your babies.
Wow.
Good guy.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Interesting,
Pazuzu's not all bad.
Good guy.
So now we get to the part where we find out that the young priest has sex. and
Yeah.
and Russell Crowe has to absolve him of this.
Yeah. That I've never seen one of these movies put such an emphasis on the importance of confession. And I thought that was great. Like, it was just so Catholic.
Well, you messaged after and you said this is the most trad Catholic movie you've ever seen.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of little things, and I'm sure I'm going to forget some of them, but there were little like nods to things throughout the movie.
Well, he says like Latin Mass is more
he's
powerful.
talking about Latin Mass, which is I think that's a knock on Vatican II, and certainly because it seems like they're trying to stop Latin Mass from happening these days.
Yeah, he's like, do you know any prayers in Latin?
It made a complete.
Well, it's not the thing with that. It's not. It's the people that promote it are also the same ones that, from the day Francis stepped out in the balcony, there have been people in the church that like had it out for him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've witnessed it myself. People like, oh my God, we're ruined.
Church been infiltrated.
because right. Francis was Pope, and I'm like, what are you? He didn't do anything yet. What are you talking about? And then you read a little bit in the guy. He's what I would want. He was a man of the people. He rode the bus. He didn't put on airs. Okay, maybe he wasn't the best liturgist, but I think he's gotten definitely better since he's been Pope. I don't see any sloppy liturgies at the Vatican since he's been involved. But this idea that, especially when Benedict was still alive, there are these people that were like,
it definitely looked fishy. It looked fishy the way he stepped down. How many times has that happened in history?
Oh, not often. But here's the thing. At least this is what, a lot of people make, a couple years before he actually stepped down, he was at the the crypt, right, of the last Pope stepped down, Celestine. I can't remember the number. And he laid his pallium, he laid it on his crypt, which, so
I don't know what
the
that
Pope
is.
looks like, the Pope looks like every other bishop, right? But archbishops and the Pope wear this special, it's an extra stole on top of everything else. It's white and has black crosses on it, hangs down in front.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
was that symbolic of something?
I would say it was symbolic of him going to lay down the papacy like Celestine did.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
a little hint, nod to the people.
Right. I think what it was is, and if you've read any of the stuff about the conclave that elected Benedict, and campaigning isn't supposed to go on, but it did, and Benedict campaigned for himself, and he got elected. And don't get me wrong, I think he's a holy guy, but he was not the guy, and he realized it. He did not. He's a scholar and a prayerful guy. He's not an administrator. Now, the same could be said for St. John Paul. He was not an administrator.
Mm-hmm.
He was an artist. He was a poet. He was a scholar. He was a prayerful guy. He was not an administrator. He handed all that off. And I think that's why the church got into the mess it did, because he wasn't making these decisions, guys under him.
Well, certainly the bureaucracy was doing
right everything it could,
very bad stuff,
shield the church from anything that could hurt it, and paradoxically enough, that's what hurt it, right? Instead of dealing with it, saying this happened, we got to fix this, hide it.
It got brushed.
We can't let the church's image be tarnished, and it got tarnished
Oh, beyond
than they could have ever.
Maybe worse than it ever has. Yeah.
And in the movie, I love that this is a little later. Basically, they say anything bad the church has ever done was the work of Satan subverting the church. So they're like,
there is a little bit of that implication.
They're like
sure.
Spanish Inquisition. That was just Satan, like in control of the church at that moment. They're like the sex stuff, you know. They're like that was Satan, like infiltrating the church.
Right. Well, on one hand, right, it's a cop out, right, because it's like, oh, it's the devil's fault. On the other hand, it's very honest. Just it is.
Yeah.
You know. No, I'm not saying Satan possessed people, but certainly, you know, the horrors of the Inquisition. Or the horrors that led to the abuse scandal. You know, the abuse scandal lies to me in the fact, if you know anything about how seminaries worked, is like you're a kid in junior high and you say, oh, I think I want to be a priest. You got shipped off to an all boys preparatory school to prep you for seminary, right? Then you entered seminary while you were in college. You got your degree, and then you went on to even more seminary. So your whole sexual development area has been cut off from contact with females, right? And you're told, well, you're going to be a priest, you're going to be celibate. So their whole sexual maturation is screwed up.
Sure.
Is it any wonder that they started having sex among themselves? And, you know, and molesting each other and then molesting other kids, because we know molesters grow up, or I should say people that were molested grow up to be molesters often enough.
This goes into what we were talking about earlier with
so is there any shock that when it comes out that this occurred? Yeah, we took young boys, stuck them in an all boys school, told them not to think about girls. I mean, come on.
Yep.
And it's, you know, the church has a hard time still dealing with this because as me and Anthony were talking beforehand about the synod and will they you know, ease up on the celibacy and
pretty much
I don't know.
Priests getting married is on the table.
Do you
they
think
have a hard time dealing with sexuality?
Do you think that we could see that change come? Because that would be
priests getting married.
Huge.
It'd be
I
extremely radical.
don't see how we can't, because, you know, the seminaries, you know, we're losing more than we're ordaining every year. So if the church is what it you know, if the things you proclaim are important, do you part with one little tradition, which is celibacy, to maintain all the others, which is, hey, we get together on Sundays to worship God. This is what He commanded us to do. This is what we need to do.
We're trying to save souls.
We need people to do it. So do we hold on to celibacy as the church disappears for lack of people willing to do it, or do we open up and say the time has come to allow married guys, and let's see how that goes for a while.
Lose the battle to win the war.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as I know, this is really just a Catholic thing because my uncle's married and he's a pastor. So,
yeah, nobody. Well, the Orthodox allow married priests, but they still have a strong monastic tradition.
Okay.
And to be a bishop, you have to be from the ranks of the monks, although they don't have a celibate diocesan priesthood like the Roman Church does. That's what's kind of unique about the Roman Church, is that non-monastics were required to be celibate.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
I think we're going to see it. I think it's going to happen.
And an interesting thing about this movie's production, it was actually kind of a reverend who kind of spearheaded it. He worked at Loyola Marymount University, which I think is a Catholic university, right?
Yep.
So he ended up getting the rights, and he said he wanted to see a priest shown in a positive light after they've been vilified for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, it's good to see a priest talking about prayer, forgiveness, God's love, and on top of all that, vanquishing demons. It feels good to finally see a priest as a hero.
It was so refreshing.
And he was
If you haven't seen it, another one I would recommend is The Rite.
Oh, good movie.
With Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
That was probably the best I felt Exorcist movie I've seen.
When's that from?
It still went.
It's recent.
It's still a little over dramatic, but just the psychology of it. The young priest questioning his calling, the old priest, again, kind of the one he lost haunting him.
Yeah. And the right still stuck true to the horror aspect as well. Like it's still a horror movie, but it still had some good uniqueness to it that I like. I like that movie better than The Exorcist itself.
Yeah.
I like The Right better.
So they find like the seal of the Vatican in like a well.
Yeah.
And there's like a crucifix upside down.
He's got his work cut out for him.
I thought a crucifix upside down is not necessarily evil. I thought it's like the symbol of St. Peter.
Correct. St. Peter was crucified upside down.
By choice.
Because he wasn't worthy to be crucified like Jesus, right?
And you'll often see some, super anti-Catholic Protestants will because there is a couple of the Pope's chairs that have St. Peter's cross on it. And they'll be like, look, the upside down cross. He's the Antichrist. And it's like, no,
they just like black metal.
They stick with
St.
the goat
Peter's
horns.
cross has been around for a long time.
It's not necessarily evil, though, right?
Right. No, it's just St. Peter requested to be crucified upside down because he felt unworthy to be crucified in the same manner as Christ.
And like, I find it funny that his symbol for like, a lot of people is just pure evil now.
Yeah. Nice of the Romans to listen to grant his request.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll do it.
I don't know. Maybe they're like, hey, maybe this will be worse.
Have you ever seen one like that? I haven't. Let's give it a try.
I gotta say though, the demon, it has some good quips in this. I'm not gonna lie. He was cursing out the father. It made me laugh. I'm gonna fuck you, father. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
This is brutal.
Didn't he say something about, have you ever come, father?
Something
like
crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's
he said, I'm gonna fuck you and make you hate yourself for coming.
Yeah, it's so brutal.
Was he Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Although that was kind of stolen. If you've ever read the book Hostage to the Devil by Father Malachi Martin, and he talks about, now there are people that say, Father Martin was full of it or whatever. But so he wrote this book supposedly of exorcisms he had participated in. And that was one of the things that had happened to him. The demon like assaulted him all at once. So he like threw him against the wall, crushed him, made him come, like shit himself, like everything all at once.
Now, was this torture?
That happened to my friend. He was puking and shitting at the same time, and then he reversed.
Role reversal.
He did a role reversal.
Now, most people would say that's torture by a demon, but Ant just says that's his average Wednesday night.
So Russell Crowe, he finds out that there's Spanish Inquisition graves at this site, and he finds this ancient door where there's like a caged person and stuff. And the Pope has a letter, and now the Pope in the movie has a heart attack and starts spitting blood
as he's reading the.
So
is he reading something at that point?
Yeah, he's reading the letter.
Yeah, reading the history also of the
monastery.
Because it's like, this is actually a demon. It's not like something fake. Yeah. And the catacomb had that cage was a failed exorcism.
Yes. Yeah. And there was an Iron Maiden there.
Yeah. Bruce Dickinson was hanging out.
And now it's revealed in the movie that the devil caused the Inquisition.
Yes.
And and now both kids are possessed. And the demon's plan is to...
Everything just keeps getting ratcheted and ratcheted and ratcheted.
The demon's plan is to raise an entire army using the church.
Yeah, like destroy the church.
Well, he wants to infiltrate the church.
Yeah, and it says its name is Osmodius or
Osmodius.
Osmodius.
Yeah, which is like a king of.
Is that
demons.
A real demon? Fatherland?
I mean, it's certainly one from the the Grimoire of Demons. I mean, he's in there. I don't know that the church attaches any
names.
Significant. Well, the thing during exorcism, they do ask for a name. I don't know that we care what the name is, or we again, like
That's such a significant part of all these movies.
Yeah.
If he said, well, because I think they don't, it seems like all of them, they know just, they like skim through the ritual, or they look and, they do, and they don't really delve into what is going on, or, so you get a lot of, it's 90% right, but 10% wrong type of stuff. And, so yeah, in a full-blown exorcism case, that requesting the name is one of the main things. You have, I don't why this is, but the exorcists say you find out its name, then you have a lot more control over it.
Yeah, that's in every movie.
So that actually comes from something real, then, slightly, I guess.
Oh yeah, for the ritual, you're definitely asking the demon to reveal its name. Yeah.
Huh.
So,
but I don't think any exorcist is going to be like, oh, it's Asmodeus. Oh no.
Yeah.
Now you have a name, and some of the names, the names aren't always from the grimoire. They're other things.
Is it ever one where it's like,
Bill,
my name is John? Yeah.
No, well, I don't know, but I think it might have been from Hostage to the Devil, Mr. Pongo or Mr. Pogo or something was the demon that was afflicting
Mr.
the one
Pogo.
person. Yeah, it was kind of like what was the one in in The Exorcist?
Pazuzu, right?
Well, but what was the girl calling him? It's
Captain Howdy.
Captain Howdy. Yeah.
Okay.
So it could be something goofy even, but yeah. So
I'm assuming in the fake ones, everyone's just like, tell him your name. It's like, I'm Lucifer. And like, that's like their go-to.
Yeah.
Well, right. The fake guy in the beginning was Legion, right?
Yeah.
Legion.
Which, as far as...
He threw a couple out there.
Yeah.
As far as I know, and Legion is something that kind of always fascinates me as far as demons. Legion is several demons that are put together, and that like makes up Lucifer or something like that. I'm always confused by it.
I just think there were many, like from the biblical, there were just many demons in the guy.
Okay.
Right. I'm a legion of demons. Yeah.
Okay, I see. So
we found out it's Asmodeus.
And the demon's plan is to use the Father to get into the church so he can possess the Pope and do fucked up shit.
Take the church down from the inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it flashes back to 1942 where Father Amorth is fighting the fascists in Italy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is real. He was a freedom fighter,
And this, like, all the, I guess his troop or friends, whatever his group he was with, all of them get gunned down and he pretends he's dead and he was spared.
Yes.
And he got away, and that's when he was like, oh, I have to.
He's got like survivor's guilt from
survivor's guilt. I have to be like save people.
Which again, have you ever seen the Exorcist prequels?
Yes, I did.
Which is an amazing thing because they made the same cast. There were one cast made two movies. Are you aware of this? One's called Dominion, the prequel, The Exorcist, and the other one's called.
In like the 2000s, right? They're in like Egypt or something.
Right.
Yeah, I saw those movies and I can't recall them at all right now. But I did see them.
That was one of the things, right? Father
Merrick,
Father Merrick, he had to pick who the Nazis were going to shoot, right? The Nazis were like, if you don't pick somebody, we're going to kill everybody.
Yeah.
So he had to start picking. So I thought, you stole from
The Exorcist. But he was. I mean, it was the guy's life. He was a
rebel,
a resistance fighter.
Wow.
Right.
In Italy when the Germans invaded.
Right. I don't want to skip too far ahead, but like he makes that catacomb explode again, and they have to go into it, which looks like a den of Cthulhu. It's like there's water and there's like you know what I'm talking about? Like it looks very like creepy.
It looks like something from Diablo.
Yeah. There's stone pillars and some carvings and looks a little strange.
And then there's a throne, right, with the abbots.
Which
sitting on the throne.
Yeah, it was the most famous exorcist.
Yeah.
Like or something like that. And there's this Bible and they read it and it's like, oh, this is actually a portal to hell.
Yeah. They get like info off him. I forgot exactly how it goes down.
He's holding his journal and I actually have it here somewhere. Yeah. It talks about multiple possessions from one demon. So like this demon is now not only possessing the boy, it's possessing the girl. It's trying to. It's a powerful demon. That
it's getting like everybody.
Yeah.
And you know they do like the final exorcism, and now the other priest who it's been revealed has had an affair gets absolved by Father Amorth.
Yeah.
And
they do a real confession.
They do a real confession, and they have their final.
And he
fight.
confesses himself about the girl he was guilty of.
Yes, they both confess, and he's like, "All right, I have to go."
Now they're clean.
I have to go get possessed by the demon to save
the family.
Right.
And he goes and he has the guy leave. Amorth gets possessed. The Jesus statue in the Vatican starts bleeding.
Yes.
Because it's
and the Pope like almost
freaks
dies.
out the American Cardinal, right? That's when the American Cardinal freaks out.
He's like, oh shit, it's real. I actually don't believe in this. And then everyone, So now the Virgin Mary thing, and Russell Crowe tries to kill self and he fails.
Yeah, the rope breaks.
Yeah.
Asmodeus is like, nope, we're going to the Vatican.
And now Russell Crowe like sits in this cool chair.
Yeah, he's in like a throne.
I really like this next scene.
This whole thing was so insane.
So insane. You see the Holy Mother appear.
Yes.
And you're like, no way.
It's like, oh man, she's interceding.
And then it's like,
oh, it's a fake out.
Demon.
No, it's the chick who ate the cardinal.
Yep.
Cardinal bird, right?
Bloody naked women, and they're fighting, and it's like this is
it just
chaos.
keeps going
chaos,
more and more nuts.
Yeah,
and then there's an explosion of blood.
It went from an Exorcist movie to just something completely out of the realm of reality.
But it's literally they defeat everything, all of this evil happening. The two priests by just praying.
Yes.
And using Latin mass,
yes,
the power of prayer.
The power of Latin prayer. And they just crush the devil, and that's it. They win. It was awesome.
Did you guys see The Nun 2?
I just did, yes.
So the two chicks, so they're in a winery, or wine cellar, I should say.
Yep.
And it's been spilled, and the devil nuns, kicking everybody's ass, and the sister remembers, we killed it with the blood of Christ last time. So she sticks her hand into the wine puddle and recites, the consecration for mass.
Yes.
And then,
oh my God!
So now all the wine all over the floor is the blood of Christ.
It's all holy.
Gets on the demon and blows her up.
Yeah.
That's funny.
They used the sacrament as a weapon
to kill a demon.
Now they send this demon back to hell.
Yeah,
right?
It explodes in blood, and it's awesome.
It explodes in blood. It's so gory and ridiculous. And then
that's not the craziest part of the movie.
It's done. And then it just goes even further.
Wait, Father Sullivan, the American, is sent to Guam.
Yes, yeah. Go live in the third world, liberal.
So now we get to the part where they find that there's this is the Christian vault with all these old texts.
They have to do a report. They have to do what happened. Paperwork. Yeah. And they get there. These two priests just beat Asmodeus, the king of demons, and not a single person gives a flying fuck. It's just day-to-day operation.
Another day at the office. Let's go to our giant Men in Black office.
Right?
Wait, what'd you say, Father Lance?
Yeah.
The Black Cardinal was right. Well, there's 194 more.
Yeah.
Just as bad as this one. You accept the challenge. And he gets on his Vespa, and there they go.
Time for a franchise.
Let's go to hell.
They literally have the office from Men in Black.
Yes.
They're just
And then the end says these books are good.
Father Amorth died in 2016. He wrote many good books.
Yes. The books are good.
Yes.
I gotta say,
and that's it. That's the Pope's
we didn't
exorcism.
use any of them to make this movie, but
supposedly, I don't know how real this is. This is based off two books in particular of his, which I want to get the names. This
should be An Exorcist Tells His Story.
An Exorcist Tells His Story, and An Exorcist More Stories by Father Gabriel Amorth.
Yeah, nothing like that movie.
Yeah, loosely taken. But apparently they're working on a sequel, and there's going to be a franchise of these with.
No way, really?
Yeah, which I am.
I can't wait.
I mean, I don't know how much you could possibly.
Is Russell
do,
Crowe
but-
coming back?
He's at least in the sequel. Yeah.
Thank God.
Well, they said he dies at the end.
No, he didn't.
No, he goes out to fight more demons at the end.
Well, no, they say
No,
he
they-
died in our time, but
it's our time down here.
it takes place in
Well,
1987.
the movie was 87.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So you have, from
We got a lot of years.
Yeah, you have from
30 years,
87 to like 2016.
194 more demons to go. So.
Oh my God, that's gonna be so many.
I hope they do 194 of these, and I hope they get progressively cheaper and shittier. Where it's like
That's
really
inevitable,
cheap.
isn't it?
He's in like an empty room. It's like, yeah, go away, demon.
The last one is just that documentary.
Yeah.
Let's put it out there. Again.
Christine.
And right, and then they picked Russell Crowe, right, who could not be any more unlike the actual Father.
He looks nothing
Yeah.
like him.
Yeah.
He's a little bald Italian dude, not the least good looking or.
No. Well, we see, every time I've ever seen him, he's in his 90s. So
I gotta say, he was fantastic in this.
Russell Crowe?
I
loved him.
I liked his performance a lot.
he seems like a good guy. I mean, I don't know the man, obviously.
He's calmed down a lot.
But his just from watching interviews with him, he seems like a decent fella.
Wasn't he like running around beating people up for a
He
while?
Sure, yeah. I mean, who hasn't?
You want to fight?
South Park had that.
I
great
guarantee
bit
you.
about him.
Even
Just
Tugger.
everywhere he went, you were the gladiator. We're fighting. He just took it up. He's like, "Fine, you got it."
So, Father Lance, we have a couple more orders of business, but one of them is I had Anthony design a quiz, a Catholic quiz, and I am going to. He's going to ask me questions, and I'm going to provide the answers, and you determine if I could pass for a Catholic or not.
Okay.
All right.
A demon decided
Now,
you weren't.
keep in mind, when I wrote these questions, all you did was say, make Catholic trivia questions.
You're
and
about
give
to
me
get.
no
You're
explanation.
about to just
So,
be gone.
I made some trivia questions.
Okay.
Some of them are more history than
Okay.
scripture.
You can
but-
ask me some like philosophical questions if any come to mind.
So here we go. Here's the first one.
Okay.
In 325, church leaders gathered in the city of Nicaea under the direction of the Roman emperor to organize conflicting doctrine into a profession of the faith, the result of which was the Nicene Creed. Who was that Roman emperor?
What does that have to do
Hold
with the
on.
religion?
A lot, actually.
God.
The Nicene Creed is the most important prayer.
Is that is that Augustine?
No, that's not an emperor.
Who is it?
It was, Father Lance, do you know the answer?
I want to say Constantine, but I want to say Constantine was dead.
Constantine is correct. It was Constantine.
Constantine's correct.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay.
All right. Number two.
Off to a great start.
Yeah.
In Catholicism, there are 7 holy sacraments that a person may partake in throughout their life
Okay.
that act as a mystical channel of divine grace through Christ. I want you to name 5 of them.
Okay. I could do this.
Mm-hmm.
The first is baptism,
Sure, that's 1.
One,
confirmation,
2,
communion,
3,
3.
marriage,
4.
and death. Right?
No.
Isn't that like last rites?
That would be 5.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Well, the last rites contain one of the sacraments, but the last rites are actually several sacraments administered together.
So you're still
Anointing
at,
of the sick.
So you're
being-
still at 4.
And I've heard that there's like that there are 2 that regular people can't get. It's when you get into like when you get in, not sainthood, when you get into the clergy.
It's called Holy Orders.
Holy orders.
Yes. And I think you got all of them.
I would
there.
give him
Okay.
that. Yeah, I would give him that. That's a good one.
Yeah, he got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Good.
All right. Number 3.
All right.
In an event known as the Transfiguration of Christ, Jesus went to the top of a mountain with the disciples Peter, James, and John. While there, Christ transformed into a radiant figure, and a voice from heaven proclaimed him the Son of God. 2 figures from the Old Testament were also present at this event. One of them is the prophet Elijah. Who is the second?
Okay. So 2 Old Testament figures show up at this thing.
Yes, a couple of Jews.
All right, one is Elijah.
Yes.
Real quick, is it an angel or is it like...
It's a real person.
It's a real person.
A person that lived.
I'm going to say Joshua.
Father Lance, you know the right answer.
Moses.
Moses is correct.
Really?
Yes.
I wasn't expecting
That's all right,
Moses.
that's all right.
That's such the obvious one that I thought it couldn't be that.
Right?
Keep in mind, I wanted you to be able to get these. All right. Number 4. During the Middle Ages, the church received large amounts of criticism over a practice that involved the loved ones of a deceased person paying sums of money to the church for the purpose of buying that person passage out of purgatory and into heaven. This practice is known as the sale of what?
Oh, I've heard this too. Hold on. Repeat that last part again.
This practice is known as the sale of what? They're selling passage out of purgatory into heaven. What is that called?
Is it indulgences?
That is correct.
Okay.
Very good, Brian.
Got it.
Okay.
All right. Number 5. The United States is generally thought of as a Protestant country. However, Catholicism is the first Christian religion practiced within the current borders of the USA. What city has the honor of hosting that first congregation? Here's a hint. It's the oldest city in America.
Wait, so you're saying that Catholicism was in
the current borders of the United States.
Okay. This is a trick question.
Mhm.
The answer is in Florida.
That is correct.
And
What is the city?
I believe St. Augustine.
That's it, Brian. Very good.
Okay.
Hey.
All right. Number 6. Christ's crucifixion, having happened at the time of Passover, it was customary for the Roman governor Pontius Pilate to release one prisoner to the crowd to be pardoned for his crimes and
Barabbas.
freed. Barabbas, he got it. Didn't even have to finish it. Very good, Brian.
All right.
All right, number 7. You're doing much better than I thought you would.
Oh,
by the
okay.
way. Jesus said to one of his disciples, "On this rock I will build my church." That disciple later went on to go to Rome and become its first bishop and therefore the first pope. Which disciple was this?
Peter.
Yeah, that was a layup.
That's an easy
That was
one.
a layup. All right, number
I'm kicking
8.
this thing's ass,
Yes.
man.
Yeah, I think he's
Would you have gotten these,
the
Steve?
holy man. I would have gotten some, not as much as he's getting.
At Christ's birth in the manger, he was visited by 3 wise men from the east who followed a star to Bethlehem. They brought with them 3 gifts. What are
Gold,
they?
frankincense, and myrrh.
No contest. Brian got it.
And hold on, what about this? I will try to name the kings.
Do it.
All right.
I don't think I could do that.
Really?
Yeah, I know one of them.
Balthazar.
Well, that's the one.
Fuck. I know the other 2 too, and I
Father
can't.
Lance?
Do you know him, Brian? You give up.
It's Balthazar, and I can't think of the other 2 right now. I'm sorry.
Casper and Melchior.
Melchior.
okay.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Number 9. Beginning in the 8th century and lasting well into the 13th, Catholic Spanish monarchs waged a series of wars to retake the Iberian Peninsula from Islamic invaders, culminating in the fall of Granada and the establishment of Spain. These wars are collectively known as...
Is this the thing in El Cid?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. Ah, man. I don't know the name of the conflict itself. I'm going to say the Battle of the Moops.
Father Lance.
That one I'm wasting.
Reconquista.
The Reconquista.
Ah,
There you go. All right, last question.
okay.
In Catholic tradition, God's greatest soldier and general of his armies is the Archangel. What is his name?
Oh, Michael.
Yes.
Okay.
Brian, you killed this. You
All
kicked
right,
this.
well, it's not up to you.
It's not up to you at all.
It's up to Father Lance.
Oh no, that was really good.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
So I'll tell you this. For my master's degree, I decided to go to a Christian university. So I I didn't realize it was when I enrolled because I didn't do my research. So I ended up going to Liberty University for my
oh my God,
for my master's university. So
I'm surprised they let you in. They didn't make you get baptized to go.
It was an online degree, and like when I called to answer to register because I had to get my degree done by a certain time for work. And real quick, the woman on the phone was like, "Do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior?" I really didn't hear her. I was like, "Yeah." So then I did the whole class, and like they were like, you have to cite the Bible all the time. So like I had like my 6 Bible passages that I would cycle through all the time. KJV 22:6, you know, Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not grow up, depart from it.
While he was going through this, he would periodically talk to me about it, be like, I gotta say, some of these sayings I'm kind of wading into.
There's some good stuff in there.
I think Brian is a future Catholic.
Think so.
So let me ask you: if you responded no, they weren't going to let you in, right?
I don't know because it was an admissions woman over the phone.
You know what's really funny?
I mean, it sounds like the sphincter says what did you into into a trick conversion, right? It's like what the Muslims used to do, tricky into saying I can't remember what they call it.
He was
the prayer of the utter.
Yeah,
the
Quran.
But Allah, Muhammad is his prophet, and they would trick Christians into saying that.
They give you like this. Can you read this? I can't make this out.
Yeah.
You're like, I got you.
You got bamboozled.
You denounced Christ.
Oh, that wacky Abdul Malik.
I went to the same school, and I didn't have the same experience as he did. They didn't ask me at all.
Well, you went after that guy got arrested, and like there were like kind of reforms at the school.
I don't think they really. I think they read my last name and was like, "He's good. He's good." I have a long Italian last name. There's a lot of. He's got enough of vowels. He's good. Let him in.
Yeah, Father Lance. My wife is Catholic, and she's gonna raise our daughter as a Catholic. So I had to go to the church about a week or two ago for like a meeting before the baptism in a couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you just get baptized? Get it over with. We'll just we'll dunk you in a puddle outside.
I personally just don't believe in the way that I feel like I would need to.
No,
if I
pray to God.
I believe there's something. I can't tell you what. I don't have the faith that
you had him
that
intercede in demons attacking you. What more do you need?
God saved you.
I'm just too like
the Holy Spirit was in your house.
I know. You make good points. It's just I don't know. I'm just not wired that way. Maybe I'm selfish and I expect more. But I have a very good life and I'm genuinely happy. So, you know.
But are you saved? That's the question.
We'll find out in like 5 years when I get a heart attack because of how I eat.
Oh my God.
Well, Father Lance, thank you so much for doing this. This was great.
This was great.
Yeah,
thank you so much,
You
sir.
were good.
Let's rate the film.
Well, yes. Also, Father Lance, have you ever blessed a podcast? We need all the help we can get.
Sure.
Thank you, Father Lance.
Oh, all right. So I guess we also have your drawing.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't think he could. It's gonna be hard to see.
I'll hold it up. I doubt I'll be able to make it out.
I could probably hold it up to this one. This camera.
Can you make out that drawing,
no,
Father Lance?
I can't make it out. No, I can't make it out. But that's okay. Let me take a quick
All right.
gander at it. Brian is very, very talented at drawing.
I don't know what that is.
Honestly, take a look at that. It is okay. All right. Wow.
All right. So I think that's Father Amorth with a cross.
Yeah.
Yes.
Showing it to, I assume that is a possessed individual.
It looks like
but
a
it looks
kitten.
just like a stick figure with a box
It
coming
is
out of his
actually
head.
the Pope.
That's the Pope?
I thought this movie. So I usually.
Why does he have whiskers?
I will usually do the sketches before or like during the movie. I thought this movie was going to end with him exorcising the Pope, and that's why it was really called The Pope's Exorcist. I thought that was going to be the twist in the movie.
It looks
So,
like he's
going
holding
in-
like a chalice with the cross, but the Pope has whiskers. Like it's very, very strange.
So going into the movie, you know, I decided to do the sketch of him exorcising the Pope.
Amazing.
And the last thing we have to do is rate the movie.
Rate it, yeah.
1 to 10.
It's a high rating.
I'm gonna go 7.5. I think it's good.
That's strong.
There's good stuff in there. It's fun. At this point, I think I'm just kind of sick of all the possession and ghost stuff.
It seems like we do a lot of
spooky
it.
season.
Not just us, but in general, you know.
Did you see the previews for Exorcist Believer?
Yeah.
I'm gonna see it.
That looks nuts.
I think we can go to the premiere if we want.
Yeah, we can. I have something to shoot, unfortunately, but I will be seeing that.
Maybe I'll go.
Are you a Saw fan, Father Lance?
No.
Okay, I am dying to see that. I love my horror.
Once they brought him back, because I want to say I watched maybe the first one or two, and then he died, and then he wasn't dead. And I was like,
it's really all just flashbacks when he's there. He remains dead. It's just they use flashbacks a lot. Yeah.
That's nonsense. I'm going to give this movie an 8.
8.
Okay.
I'll give it an 8. You 8 as well?
8.
Yeah, it's an 8. It's strong. It's a strong
I
horror
loved
movie.
it.
Yeah. What about you, Father Lance?
I enjoyed it, but given the source material they had, they could have been a lot more accurate.
Okay.
Like, to me, they went for sensationalism versus putting it, you know, being more true to what was going on. So I'll give it a 7.
Okay.
Still good.
We enjoyed the movie.
Still good, yeah.
I mean, definitely worth a watch, but like I said, to me, The Rite is probably the best Exorcist movie out there right now.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see that.
I think.
Oh, it's awesome.
Really good.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
All right, that's it.
All right,
man.
that's it. So
once again, thank
you,
for
Thank you,
Father
sir.
Lance. Do you have anything
No problem, guys.
Do you have anything you want to promote or plug or anything like that?
TST Halloween special coming out, or I don't know, is that a Patreon only, or is that going to everybody?
Well, they could
Well,
find out
good.
if they log on to the TSD Patreon.
Yes.
Yeah. In October, I'm pretty sure Father Lance will be on the Patreon in October.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the inklings in the wind. So.
Yeah.
All right.
That's good.
You guys want to say bye?
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Okay.
listening,
See you guys.
everyone.
God
Watching,
bless.
for listening.
Thank you. Don't go
God
yet,
bless.
Father Lance, because
Okay.
I have to make sure it uploads. So just hang on. Want to give a big thank you to everybody listening and or watching. Please like and subscribe. Click the bell to get notifications. You can stay up to date on everything we do.
Keep us in your prayers.
Yes. Go on Apple Podcast and please leave us a rating and review. Helps potential sponsors find the show. Give a thank you to our sponsors for this week's episode, Riverside and BetterHelp. Thank them. Thank you to Tom, Steve, Dave, Brywalt, Q, Get 'em. Thank you to Father Lance. Lance recording in the studio. Thank everybody. Follow me.
Thank everybody.
Thank
Thank them
everybody.
all. Thank them all.
Sue everyone.
Follow me personally on all social media at Brian Rupert. Follow me on Letterboxd. I rank and review every single movie I watch, even the ones in my personal life. Go on reviewinghistorypod.com. Buy some merch. There's some cool stuff. All your winter apparel. Everything you need is there. Shirts, hats, hoodies.
You get shats.
Yeah. All that stuff is there. What else? Our Review History Pod on Twitter, Reviewing History Pod everywhere else. Send us an email, reviewinghistorypod@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much.
long.
Bye.